test to pop it up there. I know this is probably a little better than the one Sonny and I had in about 2012 or 13, but this is awesome. Thank you. Thank you for your patience while we got the chairs down and everybody seated. And we wanted to make sure that the families are all where they're supposed to be. And for those of you in the balcony, enjoy yourselves. Sokol Omaha Polka Hall of Fame was started 43 years ago. This is the 43rd annual. Let's give a big hand to the Helen Janak Orchestra for providing the music. I would like to ask you, while the ceremony is going on, if you wish to talk to somebody or visit with somebody, to go out into the outer foyer as a courtesy to the people who are sitting around you. You might, only two of you be talking, but it might affect somebody's hearing and they won't be able to hear what's going on. We would like to thank Mark Villadaw and the All-Star Polka Show, KJSK 900 on your AM dial, heard every Sunday from 9 to 1 for advertising of this event. And ladies and gentlemen, let's thank the Mark Villadaw Orchestra for helping put the chairs down. Mark, you keep going above and beyond the call of duty, and I thank you so much for that. The Sokol Omaha Polka Hall of Fame started on October 22nd, 1972, and it was held every year except 1975, 77, and 78. With this year's inductions, there will be 141 inductees, of which 101 are deceased, 40 are still with us. Would the past inductees please come forward and get to the front of the stage, and we'll introduce all of you. Past inductees. Nice group today, huh? How about that? We're over half, way over half. I'd like to introduce you to the inductees. 1981 inductee Ron Matterday. 1989 inductee Alan Bullish. 1991 inductee Bob Blecka. 1994 inductee, yours truly, Jim Botnicek. 97 inductee, Dean Fornoff. 1999 inductee, Gwen Dvorak. 2002 inductee, Glenn Kochak. 2004 inductee, Mark Villadaw. 2005 inductee, Ed Sonny Swoboda. 2008 inductee, all three of them are here. Ken Janak Jr., Kip Janak Jr., and Bobby Zagozda. 2009 inductee, Dennis Pavlik. 2012 inductee, Marla Hanson-Janik. 2013 inductee, Barry Boyce. 2014 inductee, Ron and Darlene Clement. 2015 inductee Louis Seebeck, Steven Sabota, and Jeffrey Janda. And 2016 inductee Gene Benish, Bobby Lane. Thank you guys and gals, and you can return to your seats. While they're doing that, just some interesting facts about the Hall of Fame. There's 14 sets of fathers and son, 1 set of father, son, and grandson, 4 sets of husband and wife, 1 set of father and daughter, 1 set of mother and son, and 4 sets of brothers who have been inducted into the Hall of Fame. The late Everett Raymond Van Cleve was born on October 9, 1920, Ward, Nebraska. His parents were Jack and Emma Wilson Van Cleve. Everett was married to the late Mary Jane Anderson Van Cleve. They are survived by children, Terry, Judy, Sandy, and Carol. They unfortunately live out of state and were unable to be here today. Everett's father, Jack, was a blacksmith by trade. At age 16, Everett had left school to learn the welding trade and eventually had his own shop. During World War II, on June 15, 1942, Everett started in the service in the Army Air Corps and was stationed in North America and Italy. During the war, he and his unit did welding, repairing their own tools, repairing anything and everything that needed fixing. They even made their own tools. One in particular was an automatic flame cutter that would cut through metal. He married Mary Jane on August 20th, 1944, and he was discharged from the service on December 29th, 1944. He then returned to school to get his GED. He was employed by People's Natural Gas in Webster City and Story City, Iowa. Everett became a jack of all trades, moving up to be the heat and air conditioning expert for Iowa State University Center in Ames, Iowa. Sadly, Mary Jane passed away on January 23rd, 1987. Everett began driving to Omaha, picking up his dad, Jack, on the way to go polka dancing. While attending a polka fest at the Holiday Inn, Jack spotted Millie Nedved first and asked her for a dance. Then Everett came over and asked her for a dance, along with an invite to lunch. She responded that she couldn't leave because her cousin, Lillian, was with her, and they had to go together. So he took both women out to lunch, and Millie could hardly believe she was dancing with a father and a son. On June 17, 1989, Everett and Millie were married in Omaha, Nebraska. He became stepdad to Millie's children, Larry, Gary, Darlene, who was on the stage with us, and Dennis, and a wonderful grandpa to Millie's grandchildren. Of course, the reception was here at the Sokol Auditorium, with Frank Kushka providing the polkas and waltzes all night long. 1990, Everett, being a Sokol member, became president when no one else wanted the position and held it through 1994. The building was close to being closed due to safety codes, along with other safety hazards, he was able to keep Sokol Auditorium open by using his experience as a handyman, knowledge, and brought back the building under compliance. He was also able to fix the chandelier so it could be raised and lowered so no damage could be done to it. But I don't know how many years ago, just a few years back, that wasn't able to raise it up high, and at a concert here, somebody pulled down this is not the original chandelier. This is a new one that was purchased a few years back. Everett was a member of the South Omaha Eagles, American Legion Post 333, Nebraska Polka Bay, Polka Lovers Club of Omaha, Czech Culture Club, and board member of St. Luke's Lutheran Church. Everett and Millie promoted polka music by being Prince and Princess of the Polka Bay in 1990, then King and Queen in 1991. Everett passed away on October 1st, 2008. With that, Sonny, would you induct Everett Van Cleve into the Sokol Omaha Polka Hall of Fame?
Darlene, please accept this award for Everett. He was a great person. He did a lot for Sokol, and he was also a strong supporter of polka music. I personally knew him. Him and Millie did a great job out on the dance floor. Great people. Please accept this award. Thank you.
Everett's biological family, along with my family and myself, wish to thank Sokol Omaha in acknowledging Everett for being the president of Sokol Omaha for 4 years and for his service in bringing Sokol Hall up to code so it could remain open. It is an honor for me to accept this award for Everett, as he was an awesome stepdad. We were blessed when he became part of our family. We are forever grateful for his kindness, his loving support, and his willingness to always help his family and friends countless times, and also for his famous potato dumplings. His youngest daughter, Carol, related it was her father's nature to fix things, and had a saying, if it's broke, Dad can fix it, and if Dad can't fix it, then it's really broke. He is no longer here on earth with us, but he remains in our hearts as a loving dad, grandpa, and a great-grandpa. We all loved him and miss him still. Thank you very much for this award.
The late Helen Janak was born on August 15, 1924, Ulysses, Nebraska. Her parents were John and Rose Mushek. Helen was married to the late Eddie Janak, who passed away on November 25, 1973. They are survived by children Betty Long, Susan Janak, Sharon Milburn, and her husband Fred. Sharon's here on the stage with us. Edward Janak and Donald Janak. Helen attended grade and high school in Ulysses, graduating in 1941. At a young age, she sang and spoke the Czech language fluently and began singing with her sister Sally. On January 22, 1946, she married Eddie Janak. In 1955, the Eddie Janak Orchestra was formed, and in the 1960s started recording. Through the years, Helen helped Eddie with correct Czech words in the vocals. In 1970, Charlie Dworak, who ran the Omaha Czech Brass Band, asked Helen to sing on an upcoming recording with a male vocalist. When that wasn't going so well, she knew who she wanted to sing with, her beloved Eddie. The 10-song medley was recorded after hours of rehearsing at home to get Eddie to get the correct Czech words. This recording led to the addition of Helen to the Eddie Janak Orchestra and its travels around the Midwest. On November 25th, 1973 came the untimely death of Eddie. And so to keep the music going, Helen became the leader of this great organization. Joining her to sing the vocals were Jerry Hospodka and Jerry Chalupa. And then a recording came about. The name of the recording was Remember Me, a tribute to Eddie Janak. The tune Remember Me was written by Eddie for the band, and Helen sang Czech vocals. Remember Me and Back to My Homeland, a tune for which she wrote the lyrics in Czech and English. In September of 1974, Helen had booked the band to play at Nebraska Polka Days in Beanie Park for the coronation night. The guys in the band were treating it just as another dance, but when the event was happening, Big Joe announced, "This year's queen is Helen Janak." The guys were amazed that she hadn't said a thing to let out the secret. The Eddie Janak Orchestra played its final dance on December 11, 1976, right here at the Sokol Auditorium. Helen retired from the polka world until 2002, when at age 77, she recorded a CD called the Eddie Janak Orchestra +2, on which Helen and Jerry Chalupa did Czech vocals on a previously recorded but never released soundtrack. Helen last sang right here on this stage on August 14, 2014, with her nephew, none other than Kenny Janak. Helen passed away on January 14, 2015. Sonny, would you induct Helen Janak into the Sokol Polka Hall of Fame?
Sharon, please accept the award for your mom, Helen Janak, for all the contributions she made to polka music. I had the pleasure of playing on the Eddie Janak band in my younger days, and it was a great orchestra, and you had some great parents. So please accept that award on behalf of the Sokol Hall of Fame.
Our mom, Helen Janak, thank you, Jim and Sonny, and thank you, Sokol Omaha Polka Hall of Fame, for this event and for this award. I'm sure Mom would have been very proud to receive it. I would also like to thank all of the past inductees for taking their time to vote and for attending these events. When Helen was young, she always dreamed of singing with a big band. After the brass band album came out, my dad, Ed, started receiving many requests to sing the medley with my mom. Soon she became part of the Eddie Janak Orchestra. She traveled around the Midwest singing with Ed. She sewed all of her own long dresses for the stage, as well as the vests for the band. Even though there were many hours of practice, many miles traveled, and many late nights, she loved it. She said her dream had come true. After Dad passed away in 1973, Mom decided to keep the band going to fulfill the dance jobs already booked. She continued her singing, but it was never quite the same. After the final job here at Sokol in 1976, Mom retired from the polka world. The music library was packed away where it sat in Mom's basement. Now, after 40 years, Helen and Ed's nephew, Kenny Janak, is once again playing the music of the Eddie Janak Orchestra. So please enjoy the rest of the night. Thank you again.
The late Joseph J. Yindrick Sr. was born on January 22nd, 1941, David City, Nebraska. His parents were Louis and Amelia Yindrick. Joe is survived by his wife Betty, who is here, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, down in front on the wheelchair there. And children, Michelle, who's on the stage with us, Joe Jr., Bill, Nicole, and Eric. Joe attended grade school in David City and high school at Marietta in rural Butler County, where he graduated in 1958. At a young age, while in school, the Monsignor told him he should play the tuba. So he borrowed one and for the most part was self-taught before he began to play with the school band from 1955 to 1958. Joe began his professional career at age 15 playing for the Bud Compt Orchestra out of David City. After high school, Joe joined the United States Army and served until 1964. It was during this time that he met and married his wife of 50 years, Betty, in Massachusetts. They then moved back to a farm here in Nebraska, east of David City, and raised 5 children and now have 11 grandchildren. In 1984, Joe started working for Tipty and retired 25 years later in 2009. In 1998, he started a 5-acre vineyard, which he had a great passion for selling the grapes to Makovicka Winery there in Brainerd, Nebraska. Through all the years since that first job with Bud Compt Orchestra, he also played for Ernie Kuchera, Matt Sledke, Michael Brechka, Bill Onion Trio, and the American Czech Brass Band, where he was noted for Czech vocal skits with Bill Onion. Joe was a lifetime parishioner of Appleton Assumption Catholic Church, where he was an acolyte, a commander, and reader, as well as a 4th-degree Knight of Columbus. Joe's family was very musical, as he and his 5 sisters were all talented vocalists. At family gatherings, the highlight was he and his sisters singing church hymns, Christmas carols, or old Czech hymns. As saddened as the family was, Joe will always be remembered for his musical talents, great sense of humor, love and pride for his family, farming, vineyard, many friends who now miss him dearly. Joe passed away on March 14, 2014. Sonny, with that, would you induct Joe Yindrick Jr. into the Sokol Omaha Polka Hall of Fame?
Father Joseph Yindrick, for all the contributions he made to polka music. I didn't know him personally, but I've heard some wonderful things about what he's done, and I'm sure you've got that good memories of your dad. So please accept this from the Sokol Polka Hall of Fame.
Thank you, Sokol Omaha and members of the Polka Hall of Fame. Dobry den. The Yindrick family is honored today to accept this award on behalf of the late Joseph Yindrick Sr. And I'm very honored personally, as the eldest of Joe's children, to be able to speak on his behalf today. As I sat to write my notes for today, I was flooded with thoughts and memories of my father. I just didn't know where to start. But so many of the memories are filled with music. Ever present growing up, there was always music, and every Sunday morning it was polka music. As my siblings will agree, the Big Joe Polka Show, on the way to church, on the way back from church, in the kitchen while we're having breakfast, but I digress. I do confess that ever since my father passed, I do play polka music on Sundays once in a while. Dad was born into a musically talented family and jumped right into singing harmony at a young age. He and his sisters were taught Czech as a second language and took pride in their Czech heritage, that of course was filled with music also. Back a few moons ago, there were actually 3 generations of Yindricks singing with the Butler County Czech Club groups. As Jim had mentioned, young Joe was encouraged by the Monsignor at Marietta to try playing the tuba, and that's where it all really began. He was, for the most part, yes, self-taught. And when Bud Comp needed a bass player, he would get rides from his sisters to rehearsals and dance jobs until he actually got his license. The only break he took in his 59 years of playing was for 3 years in the early 60s when he served in the Army. He came back from Germany, got married, and was back in Nebraska playing with Bud again. We are sure the years Dad spent with the American Czech Brass Band were many of his favorites. Collaborating with his co-host and lifelong friend, Bill Andiel, they've involved Mom and Bill's wife, Donna, as their costumers, dressers, prop masters, whatever was needed for the show to go on. They spent many hours sitting around the kitchen table laughing and writing and planning their skits. They will always be remembered as the famous duo of Smirnoff and Vodka. I found a term in Czech that describes my father well, hudebník, the music man. Many will agree he lived his life in 2/2 time, the 1 and the 2 of a polka. But he did know how to slow down to 3/4 time and waltz once in a while. He loved music and he loved being an entertainer. Most importantly, he loved to see people smile and enjoy themselves. We couldn't go anywhere without hearing, "Hey Joe," and then you didn't know how long you were going to be there. He was known far and wide for his music, and the song that makes us all think of him is, "When you're smiling, the whole world smiles with you." A favorite artist of mine was quoted to say, "To dance is human, to polka is divine." Keep a smile on your face and a polka in your heart. We know Joe would want it that way. Thank you, Sokol Omaha, and thank you, Polka Hall of Fame members, for this award.
The late Charles Kral was born on May 18, 1915, Omaha, Nebraska. His parents were James and Marie Krause Kral. Charles was married to the late Mary Swoboda Kral, and they are survived by children Charles Kral Jr., Rich Kral, who is here on the stage, Diana Kral, Sherman, and Dennis Kral. Charles attended grade school at Brown Park Elementary and Omaha South High School. He graduated in 1939 from the Cleveland Conservatory of Music. At age 12, Charles got his first instrument, a trombone. In the early 1930s, he began playing professionally. The list of bands were Charlie Kuchera Orchestra, 1937 to 39, Union Pacific German Band, and Royal Highlander Orchestra, 1940. Organized his own band in 1940 to 1942. Martin Balmer Plant Band in Bellevue, 1942 to 1945. Red Raven Orchestra, 1947 to 1951. The Vincent Emanuel Band in the 1970s and the 1980s. Gustav Band at the German American Society when it was on 13th Street in Omaha here. And the Dave Husky Orchestra, Vern Ludington, and the Omaha Symphony. Charles's graduation certificate from Conservatory of Music was his greatest award. He also played baritone, bass horn, string bass, as well as trombone. He was a member of the Omaha Musicians Association from 1957 to 1994. Always ready to play for nationally known, I should say, bands that came from wherever to town to play, and those bands were Wayne King, Glenn Miller Orchestra under the current direction of Tex Beneke, Tommy Dorsey Orchestra, the Circus Bands, and played for the Shrine Circus. Charles passed away on February 21st, 1994. Sonny, with that, would you induct Charles Kral into the Sokol Omaha Polka Hall of Fame?
Please accept this award for your dad. Well, I knew your dad personally. I wish my dad was still here. He would enjoy knowing your dad got in the Polka Hall of Fame. So this is in recognition of all his contributions for polka music.
I like this one. Jim can speak pretty loud. I better use it. All right, listen. As long as you can hear me. I'd like to take this time to thank Charles. I would like to name, my name is first, let's say Rich Kral, son of Charles Kral. I would like to, on behalf of our family, I would like to thank the Sokol Omaha organization for sponsoring the event this evening. I would also like to thank the past inductees that voted for my dad and to receive this wonderful Polka Hall of Fame honor. In the audience this evening, I'd like to recognize Charles's other family, his son Charles Kral, my sister Diane Kral Sherman, my brother Dennis Kral, and other family members, which include my grandchildren, great-grandchildren, our spouses, and other who are gathered here to recognize the music accomplishments of my dad. A special thanks goes out to Jason Whitney, my son-in-law, who created this wonderful trifold that you see over here on the left, with all the bands Dad played with over the 50-plus his career year. If you haven't had a chance to look that over, take a look. There's some good pictures of some of the bands you might recognize, plus a lot of musicians that you might recognize, and there's quite a few that are in the Polka Hall of Fame. My dad loved polka music. He was born up with polka music, but I think his favorite music was Dixieland. He played the tailgate trombone, similar to what Jack Teagarden would play. He loved that. In the early 30s, as Jim said, he started with the Sparta Band, and they bought themselves a 1929 Packard touring car. It had a rack on top that held the music, the instruments, plus suitcases, and they traveled all over the country with that touring car. One of the big things they did, they pioneered going down to Houston, Texas, bringing polkas back down to there, which wasn't very popular in those days. I can remember my dad telling me they played at a hall similar to this, with a crowd about as big as this, and they're all sitting there like you are, looking at me. They were looking at the band. Dad started playing the group. They played about 3 sets. Each set consisted of about 3 to 4 songs, and nobody was dancing. They're sitting there looking at me like you are. And Dad said, "What are we doing wrong? We playing the wrong kind of music? Don't they like us?" So they played another set. Well, finally, a gentleman came out of the audience with his wife and said, "Man, you guys are playing some fantastic music. What is it?" He says, "Well, we're not playing a concert. We're playing a polka dance. Get out there and dance." Well, they finally got out there and danced, and the night was fantastic. The band had a good time, and so did the people. The next day, they had another job in Texas, but first off, they wanted to go down to the ocean to swim they went down to the ocean to swim in the ocean. Unknown to them, there's jellyfish in the ocean. And half the band got stung by jellyfish. And they had to play a job that night. But my dad remembered from his mother, my grandma, the best thing for a sting is vinegar. So they went to the nearest grocery store with the old Packard and got a gallon of vinegar and had a sponge bath. I have a book at home, the Black Book, with all the jobs Dad played from the 40s to the 50s. And in that book was how much the band got, where they played, everything. You wouldn't believe what a band got in 1940 was $35 for a 7-piece group. So $5 was what the guys got a piece. So in 1940, according to my phone, I asked Siri, what would it be, $5.40 compared to 2017? And she said, in 1940, $5 was worth $85 in today's spending money. So a dollar was worth $17 in today's currency. Can you believe that? So their pay wasn't that bad. During the war, Dad worked at bomber plant. It was called Martin Bomber Plant in Offutt Air Force Base, where it's located now. They built B-26 bombers there at the time. My dad was a mechanic and a welder there. And at that time, they started a band called the Martin Marauders Band. And they played for all the big occasions that was coming through town. And one of the big ones was when President Franklin Roosevelt came to town to check to see how the production was coming on the B-29s. So Dad said he was able to shake Roosevelt's hand. It was a big thing for him. Then they transitioned over to building the B-29 bombers, and Dad was involved in that. The pilots and the crew would come into Offutt, pick up their B-29, and the band would play for them as a ceremony for them. He remembers one special occasion. Colonel Paul Tibbets came to town and picked up his airplane at Offutt. That plane was called Enola Gay. And that plane and a few other planes ended World War II. After the war, as Jim said, Dad joined a union, Omaha Musicians Union, and played with all the big bands that came through whenever they called it. We never turned one down. I can remember, I think my dad was around 75. He had a terrible stroke, and we had to put him in a nursing home. But I'll never forget the day Ed Strobel, his dad, turned 80. And Sonny put together a nice dedication to his dad. He got a bunch of former Red Raven Orchestra members to play in the band that was going to play for his dad's birthday. So the Kral family was invited. And it was a terrible day that day. We had a terrible snowstorm. And Sonny was going to call that time off. But he didn't, thank goodness. And we went to the nursing home, picked up my dad, got him into the hall. And first thing, the band was already played. First thing my dad said, I got to get on that stage and play. I said, Dad, you didn't bring any horns, you can't go, you got your music going there, just stay here. So I started talking to some of the friends next to me. Next thing I knew, Dad was going across the floor with his walker, up the steps to the stage. Rudy Dvorak was playing tuba. Rudy said, hello, Charlie Kral, come over here and play the tuba. That was Dad's third. He played the rest of the night tuba. He enjoyed it. I can remember my dad telling me, most people won't be able to make a living playing music. You need to get a full-time job. Playing music can be your fun second job, and it has been for me. There's a saying that goes around, without music, life wouldn't be worth living. Music was always Dad's favorite love. My dad died at the age of 79. If my dad Charles was here today, he would be very proud of this award. I think he would say, let's help keep the polka music alive and so support our musicians. Thank you for giving my dad this prestigious Polka Hall of Fame award. Our family appreciates it. Thank you.
Louis J. Hospodka Jr. was born on December 23, 1940 in Omaha, Nebraska. His parents were the late Louis Sr. and Blanche Hospodka. Louis is married to Mary Hospodka, who's right down here in front. And They have 4 children, Stephen, Andrew, Jason, and Jana. Lou attended St. Agnes and Holy Ghost grade schools and graduated in 1959 from Omaha South High School. At age 8, Lou began taking piano lessons from teacher Clara Yocott from 1948 through 1949. At age 9, he played the song Carolina Moon on the piano at a recital at Joslin Museum and won a red fire truck. Somewhere around 1954, his dad borrowed a 120 bass piano accordion from Ted Olahowski. Lou could never master those black buttons. He thinks he had disappointed his father because he never became an accomplished piano accordion player. Lou met his wife here at Sokol at a polka dance, of course. She was Polish heritage, and also went to the Polish home often. It was there that he met Bill Jaworski, who started a little polka band, and in 1961, Lou played rhythm guitar and drums with him at a lot of bars. After getting married in 1962, he quit playing to raise a family, so the beloved polka music was put on the so-called back burner. Sometime in the mid-1980s, Lou bought a 3-row Horner button accordion from Hans Albers and taught himself how to play. In 1994, Brother Ed asked if Lou would help him take over the South Old Polka Show as Rudy Dworak was retiring, so the name changed to South Old Czech Polka Show. And after Ed moved to western Nebraska, Lou, along with Charlie Petermichael, did the show for the next 15 years, ending on December 25th, 2011. During those years, they produced Polka Fest at Millard Legion, Sokol Auditorium, Polish Home at both halls, and American Legion Post 331. In 1989, the Little Tavern Band was formed and have played for dances, weddings, and festivals like at the Playmore Ballroom in Lincoln, TJ Sokol Wilbur, Czech Landers Festival in Grand Island, National Hall, Prague, Nebraska, Czech Days, and also Czech Days in Tabor, South Dakota. Also Clarkston, Nebraska. I should put that in here before the Tabor. Lou was inducted into the Musicians Hall of Fame in Milligan, Nebraska, January 16, 2011, and also has produced 4 recordings and appeared on the 2011 Molly B. Polka Show taping at the Starlight Ballroom in Wahoo, Nebraska. With that, Sonny, would you induct Mr. Lou Hospodka into the Sokol Omaha Polka Hall of Fame?
Give you this award for all your contributions to polka music. You've done a great job, deserving of award. Please accept this for the Sokol Polka Hall of Fame. Congratulations.
Years ago, right up there on this stage, a guy by the name of Dean Vitor Fokol Fornoff took a piece of paper out of his pocket, just like I'm going to do. But I'm not going to talk as long as he did. I love Dino. Anyway, I want to thank all you folks and thank Sokol Omaha for putting this ceremony on. You know, it's quite an honor to be acknowledged by all the great people who were inducted into this organization. You know, it's true what he said. I met my wife right here at Sokol Hall many years ago, right over there behind that pillar. She was sitting at a table. And of course, you know, back in the 50s and 60s, you know, everybody smoked. So I ran out of cigarettes, of course, you know, so I knew Mary smoked, so I went over there. She smoked Lucky Strikes, by the way, no filters. Then I go over there and she thought I was going to come and ask her to dance. Big mistake on my part. Anyway, I asked her for a cigarette. She wasn't too happy about that, but the other thing was is that she was really kind of peeled when I went over and asked her sister to dance. Later on, though, we did dance. She was a fantastic dancer, still is. We fell in love, you know, got engaged, got married. You know, and I thank God every day for her sticking with me for 55 years, you know. Should have got rid of me a lot of times. And she reminds me of that occasionally, you know, and she tells this to other people too. You know, she never thought about divorce. Murder, yes. She has told people that. You know, Mary and I are blessed with 4 great children. They're the best in the world, of course, on prejudice, you know. My son Steve and his wife Summer over here, Andy and his wife Sarah, Jason and his wife Angie, my daughter Jana and her husband Ryan. Got 8 wonderful grandchildren: Austin, Caleb, Seth, Ava, Hunter, Spencer, Lily, and Willow. And of course, my oldest grandson Austin and his wife Caitlin have our first grandson, great-grandson Jackson, and we're over here. Everybody's here today, which is nice. I gotta make this quick if I want to beat Dean Cornwell's time. One day in the mid-'80s, you know, my brother Ed brought home an accordion. He was working on a ranch up in Valentine, Nebraska, remodeling it for somebody, I don't know who. But anyway, he brought this accordion home. He found it up there, see? So anyway, he brought it home. We taught ourselves to play a couple of songs on it. But that story isn't the best about why he was staying there. You know, he was remodeling this thing, you know, and for all those of you who know my brother Ed, you know how he is. He wouldn't go to town to stay. He stayed in this little shack or farmhouse or whatever, ranch house that he was remodeling. While he was staying there, he said at night, he could hear the rattlesnakes below the floor. You know, rattling like that? Hell, I'd have left there, took that accordion and went home. Over the years, me and Mary went to many, many polka dances, festivals, and like that, and met some very, very wonderful people, and a lot of great musicians. And some of them became very, very good friends. I'd like to tell you about a few who influenced me and the polka music and how I got started in this. One of them is a great friend, Mr. Charlie Peter Michael. You know, he probably influenced my accordion playing the most. He showed me a lot of things about playing the button accordion. When I first started playing, of course, I was pretty bad at it. But Charlie said, you know, he always encouraged me and told me to keep at it. You know, it was because of him that the little tavern band was formed, and you know, what a great friend. Another one, a couple of them was Charlie Yurkowski and Gary Burka. You know, they both could play polka music, with or without the music, blindfolded or whatever. And if you ever was around either one of them, you know that whenever they played, it was contagious to listen to them. Another one was great, a great friend was Greg Troyan, a fantastic musician. When Charlie Peter Michael's back got bad and I had to start playing accordion in the band, I thought, oh my God, front row, you know, I was scared to death. Well, I talked to Greg about it, and he told me, he said, Louie, don't worry about it. He says, if you're making a mistake, don't stop playing, keep going. He said, they won't know the difference. Anyway, Charlie quit when he told me that he would play. I bugged him real bad about it. We was doing a polka show and about getting a band together, and he said I was crazy. But anyway, he said, if you can get the music and the musicians, I'll play. So I called up Frank Kuska. At that time, Frank was, you know, retiring, more or less, from playing. So I asked him about buying his music, buying his library. Well, he told me to come on over to the house and that he would talk to me about it. Well, I went over there and we had some conversation, and he told me, he said, Louie, take this music home and somebody ought to be playing it. He said, copy it and bring it back. I thought, oh my goodness, this is something special. So when I come back, I tried to pay him and he got mad at me. You know, and like I said, the one common denominator, you know, for all these people was that they all loved the music. That's why they played it, and that's why I did it. You know, I could go on and on about many musicians who do the same thing. These were just a few that influenced me. Over the years, you know, we've had many, many great musicians playing our band. Many of them are here tonight. I've been very fortunate to have some great friends playing regularly in our band today. Rick Pavel started from day one. He said, no, here someplace, I'm sure. Plays bass. I mean, he's a fantastic bass player. Jan Mahotek, trumpet, valve, bone, sax, and clarinet. He's helped me to reorganize all of my music and also rewrite some new numbers and rewrite some of the old ones, as some of them were pretty bad. They had beer smudges on them. You couldn't read the music. Of course, then Larry Starka, he played with us quite a bit, you know, and off and on. And another one is Dave Kulishek, who plays with us once in a while. Marla Janik plays with us too from time to time. Bob Zabilla, the animal we call him. My good friend Bob, one of the best drummers around. I don't know what we do without him. Most of all, I would like to thank you folks so much. You know, the musicians, you know, I don't know, you play the music, but if you don't come to the dances, without you, we wouldn't exist. So again, I'd like to thank you. Until next time, let's let it go.
Kevin B. Koopman was born on April 3rd, 1964 in Norfolk, Nebraska. His parents, mother Marlene and the late Donald Koopman, and Marlene is down here in the front, I believe. Kevin is married to Dr. Ann Francine Koopman. They have a daughter, Emily Ann Koopman, and grandson, Maximilian Henry Graves, and live near Ceresco, Nebraska. Kevin attended grade in high school in Stanton, Nebraska, graduating in 1982. He then earned a bachelor's degree in home economics in 1987 with minors in business and Czech language, and received his master's degree in educational administration in 2012, all from the University of Nebraska-Lincoln. In 1994, he earned a K-12 instrumental music teaching certificate from Dome College in Crete, Nebraska. Kevin is a third-generation tuba player, as his grandpa Henry and his dad Donald also played tuba with many bands. He started playing with his dad's E-flat tuba while in the 5th grade. Kevin switched to B-flat tuba in high school, played solos at music contests, and was featured in a Stanton High School marching band show playing the clarinet polka on the tuba. During this time, he took private lessons and auditioned for the Nebraska All-State Band his senior year, placing 5th as an All-State champion the fall of 1981. Kevin's first playing gig was with a high school polka trio called Polka Rocks. While playing with Polka Rocks at the Eddie Skeets Polka Festival at King's Ballroom in Norfolk, Nebraska, a spectacular thing happened. According to Kevin, Dean Hansen asked him to set in with the orchestra, and Al Grebnick, who was also in attendance at the festival, noticed him playing with Dean Hansen Orchestra. The following week, he got a call from Al Grebnick and Dean Hansen to play some tuba jobs. Well, eventually, he started playing steady for Dean Hansen and his trio from 1980 through 1981. Other groups Kevin played with during that time in high school were the Norfolk Polka Kings, Battle Creek Brass, Frankie Carabar Trio, Dave Salmon's Band, and John Dufek Trio. When attending the University of Nebraska, Kevin was a member of the Cornhusker Marching Band in 1982 through 1984, performing at 2 Orange Bowls in Florida and the Sugar Bowl in Louisiana, which was the first time Kevin flew in an airplane. In the summer of 1983, Kevin was asked to play with the Jim Botnicek Orchestra on the road to Esterhazy, Canada, and the following week to Ennis, Texas. This is when he met Kenny and Cheryl Janik, Barry Boyce, Paul Menoshek, and dear friends, the Zapletel family. In 1986, Kevin joined the Mustache Joe Polka Band and remembers riding his bicycle to play 11 days at the state fair with the Mustache Joe Polka Band at the open air auditorium. Also performing on TV and radio shows, as well as playing at festivals that led to jamming with Myron Florin, Frankie Yankovic, and meeting the famous Harold Laffenbacher of the Six Fat Dutchmen. He then played tuba and sang in Czech and English with Elmer Nimitz on Mustache Joe Polka Band recording, which was Kevin's first experience at recording it in studio. In 1988, Kevin married Ann, and they moved to Waco, Nebraska. At this time, he played for Dwayne Schultz's combo and German band, and also a sub on the Bob Blecka and the Bouncy Czechs and Greg Blecka Good Time bands. In 1989, Kevin joined the Matt Sletke band and recorded with the band in studio and on video recorded here at Sokol. At this time, he was also, through polka music, had lunch with the children's TV host, Captain Kangaroo. In September 1991, at the Wisner Polka Festival, Kevin played his first job with Mark Villadol Band and is celebrating 26 years with the band. In those years, he has been a part of 6 CDs, 4 polka videos. Kevin has been a host of the All-Star Polka Show, KJSK Radio from Columbus, Nebraska, in Mark's absence. While playing for Mark, Kevin enjoyed 4 bus tours to Ennis, Texas, 4 trips to Las Vegas, playing at the Lincoln Lead Center for a Garrison Keillor show. The band's music being selected for the Smithsonian Institute of Music and a feature in the New York Times newspaper. A side note, in 1997, while on the Vegas trip, Kevin and Ann went to Los Angeles, and Kevin was a part of The Price is Right show with Bob Barker. How about that? Kevin played tuba, trumpet, and recorded with the Dan Bruja Trio from 2000 to 2009, and in 2004 started playing baritone horn for the Nebraska Czech Brass Band. To this date, with an interest to run his own band, Kevin bought the Duffy Bellerod Music Library, a band that his dad, Donald, played tuba on for years in the 70s. The first performance of the new Duffy Bellerod Band under the direction of Kevin D. Koopman was at the Starlight Ballroom in Wahoo, Nebraska on November 16, 2012. In 2006, a CD was produced, and in June of 2011, a taping for the Molly B Polka Show on RFD TV. The band plays on a regular basis at the Center in Council Bluffs, Iowa for their ballroom dances. Kevin also runs a polka combo, and in 2010 recorded a CD that included a patriotic polka and a Christmas polka and some tuba work by his father. A list of the groups that Kevin, that weren't already mentioned, that Kevin has played for: Ernie Kuchera, Sonny Swoboda, Jim Kuchera, Johnny Coppersmiths, Brad Husak, Checklanders, Barry Boyce, Gil Koenig, Kenny Shudak, Lincoln Checkmasters, Merry Musicians, Barefoot Becky, Moonlighters, Leonard Beckwar, Don Telecki, Polka Commotion, Good Time Dutchman, Wayne Ripke, Aaron Cease, Angie Creesh, Leo Lonnie, Young Czechs, Hank Zahorik, Addie Hyde, American Czech Brass Band, Prague Czech Brass Band, Vern Bielik, Bohemian Alps Boys, Red Yesha, Raymond Kubelik, Czech Friends, Michael Brechka, and Lou Hospodka's Little Tavern Band. The ballroom side of the music was a polka group, other than polka groups, Soresco Brass Quintet, Street Railway Dixieland Band, Jay Sterling, Ron Natterly, Lou Arnold, Tommy Bishop, and Jimmy B. Kevin began his teaching career in 1994. He has taught grades 5 through 12 instrumental music at Windside Public Schools, Raymond Central Public Schools, UTAM Public Schools, and is currently teaching 6th through 8th grade band and orchestra for Lincoln Public Schools at Goodrich Middle School. He was elected and serves as a middle school director for the Nebraska Music Educators, responsible for junior high orchestra and band and choir. The trophies and awards and accomplishments the students have earned over the past 20 years at district and state level are too numerous to mention. There are a few facts. Kevin D. Koopman was voted Teacher of the Year 4 times by staff and students and received the State Teacher of the Year at the Nebraska VFW Convention for teaching patriotism. At Windside, Raymond Central, and UTAN Public Schools, the Koopman Band membership still holds a record for being the largest band in that school's history. And at every school, there was a full-size polka band, and the students were required to learn how to play the button accordion. With that, Sonny, would you induct Kevin D. Koopman into the Sokol Omaha Polka Hall of Fame?
Kevin D. Koopman, I want to congratulate you on your fine background in polka music. Fact is, I think you ought to write a book. You know, that's quite an itinerary.
Jim just read the book.
Anyway, congratulations on the accomplishments you've had with polka music, and please accept this award from the Sokol Polka Hall of Fame.
These other people were drinking water. I've showered twice and I don't think it worked. I'm so nervous about today. And of course I want to thank the Sokol. Is the Sokol not the most beautiful place in the world with the balcony and the chandelier? Let's hear it for the Sokol. What a beautiful building. Also want to thank you, Sonny and Jim. I've played on both their bands and they do all this great background work. Let's hear it for Sonny and Jim as well. The inductees that voted, again, of course, thank you. It's such an honor and such a privilege because the musicians back there are absolutely phenomenal as far as camaraderie and as well as musicianship. I do have a few other folks to acknowledge, probably some of the loud people in the room maybe. I have a lot of family here. First, let's just get the close-knit family to stand up. My mom, age 83, with 2 new knees right there, yeah. Stay standing, yeah. Because you got 2 new knees, we're good to go, so. And then I got my wife of 29 years, Anne Francine Koopman. My daughter Emily and her son, my grandson, Maximilian Henry Graves. Now stay standing because now I'll just call upon, we had Koopman reunion yesterday, so what a great deal. They made a weekend out of it then. So we've got cousins from the Heerman side, the Hickey side, the Koopman side. I got nieces, nephews, I have in-laws, I got outlaws. Will all my family please stand and be recognized? Thank you for coming today. All right, aunts and uncles too. Yeah, there you go. And one person that I would consider as part of my family, he flew in from Minneapolis, Minnesota, the best man from my wedding. We both played tuba for the Cornhusker Marching Band, Mr. Alan Higley. Again, I want to thank some of we got the people from church that are here. I've got students and parents from all the school districts are here. I want to talk about education and experience. I got education and experience from some great and wonderful people. Some of them are passed away, and so I have representatives to stand in their presence. But first of all, up here, they tried to dress like they were part of a polka band. My former administration from UTAN Public Schools, Superintendent Kevin Johnson and Tim McNamara, my principal, will you please stand up? See the black shirts, the matching shorts. Yeah. For his principal job, I was on the interview committee, and he won it for me because he sang the words to Al Grebnick's Mickey Mouse polka. You'd hire him too, wouldn't you? So then I called Marla and said, "What's wrong with this guy?" No, that's anyhow. Some other mentors in my past. Harold Osmond played 50 years with the Tommy Bishop Band. Ken Mosher, please stand up on behalf of Harold. We called him Ozzy Osmond. He helped me buy my first tuba. Dennis Emke, my old band director. Where's Dennis at? Right there, wave your hand. There's my high school band director. He used to kick my butt to make the best effort out of me. Hey, hold your applause. We'll do this one big section. And also Carter Leaka. I drove from Stanton, Nebraska to West Point, Nebraska. He gave me private tuba lessons. That's how I made All-State. He used to hit me from the back of the head and call me Bozo. And can I sue you now for child abuse? I don't know. Yeah. Alan Volish, will you please stand for Bob Polinsky? I did my student teaching with Bob Polinsky. Alan played a lot of years with Bob. Bob showed me how to be a teacher and to be a gigger on the road in one body. Jim Schultz, will you stand in the presence of for your father, Dwayne Schultz? Dwayne also was an educator and a gigger and showed me the same thing. Bobby Pasnall, will you stand for the memory of Ann Pasnall and also for Mustache Show? Those guys taught me how to make money. So, but they were good musicians as well. So let's hear it for those folks. They were my mentors and educators. Sorry, my nose is running. If you didn't know, that was an E flat, so. All right. From the early years, John Dufek took me to Tabor, South Dakota. It was a trio. I played by ear. I didn't read well. I didn't even use my tongue back then. And but his widow is here today, all the way from Norfolk, Nebraska. We'll hold on to your applause. Doris, will you stay standing? His widow is here from Norfolk, Nebraska. The first band I played with, Polka Rocks, first piano accordion player. He was in high school when I was. Came all the way from Verdigris, Nebraska today. Leroy Holman, will you please stand? Dean Hansen could not be here today. Marla, will you stand on behalf of your father? He said that I need to discover my tongue like a snake, and he said it's going to flow like water. Yeah. And going to Dvorak, will you stand on behalf of the Matt Slatke Band? Again, this was the first time I got to play with a concertina player, traveled to Gibbon, and the camaraderie of the Matt Slatke Band at the time was fantastic. Jim Bonacek, will you please stand up? Jim took me on the road. Jim, that's you. He's pretty bossy, but I got the microphone now, buddy. Okay, so Bonacek, of course, he also kicked my butt too sometimes. When we played that Canada job, when they have free food, and a lot of you know this, I usually take it with me because I like free food. So accidentally, we took some sauerkraut along, and the container fell over and spilled all that sauerkraut juice in the carpet of his Chevy van. I know that you had to shampoo it, Jim, and you cussed me, so I apologize now for spilling sauerkraut juice in your van from the Canada trip. Dan Bruhach could not be here today. He took me out to places like Thedford, Nebraska, and great player, got to record with him. And again, Kenny Janak. Where's Kenny? He's the runner of the band today. Where's Kenny? Is he back there? Is he drinking at the bar? Where's he at? Where? Oh, he's waiting. People can't see you over there. Anyhow, Kenny allows me to play euphonium on the Nebraska Czech Brass Band. We're playing at the Nebraska Brewery coming up yet. Is it this month, maybe? Anyhow, what a great opportunity to play with all these musicians, to play European and Czech style and Ernst Mush stuff, and playing euphonium on that band. So, he listed some of the bands. We're up to 56 or 57. I don't know if I couldn't hold a job or not, but can you thank all these folks for giving me the playing experience? Last, I'd like to also recognize the people that play on my groups. Brad Husak plays button accordion on the combo, Jeff Vieladal, and Sam Zitek. Also, the Duffy Bellrod Orchestra members, please stand up. Sam, by the way, has been with me for 15 years. Sam, stand up. I said your name. Stand up and say stand. Okay? 15 years he's been with me. 2002 is when we started Duffy. Jacob Vieladal, Roger Dill, Rich Janak, Helmut Butler, Gary Wright, Bob Segoza, Ken Mosher, Ken Janak, Lynette Hansen, Steve Morris. If I need a two-player not playing trumpet, Steve Stager, and the ones that have passed away, Dick Kuchera, Marley Grubbs, Dwayne Schultz, and Dan Pesnell. Thank you. You'll never get any more money, but I appreciate that you packed the band. Thank you. Also, the people that employ us all, okay? The people that take the risk at the door and that work the bar. And Ron and Darlene Clement fit the bill here, and all the staff from Starlight. They helped let Duffy open up in 2002, and they've hired the combos several times as the Starlight Ballroom. And if they would stand up, Clarkson Opera House Bunch. Where's the Clarkson Bunch? Are they all the way back there? Clarkson Opera House Bunch is here for, again, hiring the band. The center over in Council Bluffs, the Lee alumni hires Duffy every year, and also the Elks Club in Ord today. That's where the Checkliners are at, and I think that's okay to have polka music today too as well. So thank you to the employers. Thank you. Now, if you're paying attention to Jim Bonacek's speech, we'll see if this is, as a teacher in me, I want to see who's paying attention. If you can answer this question, and all Vieladal members are disqualified. For a dozen farm fresh eggs from the Koopman Farms, how many years did I play with Mark Vieladal? How many years have I done? Oh, right here, right here. Little guy in the balcony raising his hand. How many years? Shout it out loud. 26. Let's hear for the young man in the balcony. That's correct. It pays attention. I'll come to my school. I need more kids that pay attention too. This is yours later, not now. Okay. So, the Vieladal Band, 26 years with Mike Helgeson, Jan Lahotak, Sam Zitek, Jeff, and Jacob Vieladal. Also, for a good portion of that was Joe Havlovitz. It's like a family, and I got a great family, as you can see, but I didn't have a brother. I have great brother-in-laws. I've got to get myself covered here. But I would consider you family. I would consider you a brother. When he hugs you at night, when you get done with the gig, love you, man. Love you, man. That's what he says, and he means it. He's a great band leader. He's a great musician. We've had great travels, national achievements. I apologize for all the stress of me being late. People are laughing because I struggle with time management. And how many times should you have fired me? Hold up the fingers. How many times do you think you should have fired me? Whoa. I don't remember that any time. I was going to say 3. A couple times where I go up to Mark Villadal's house the next day and said, I'm so sorry, and he chewed me out, and I had it coming. So, without further ado, it's like Louis said, we really enjoy playing, we enjoy dancing, and I enjoy all the folks that are here. After they conclude the ceremony here, we're going to embrace the past with old instruments and with young people and plant a seed for the future. I also have more drink tickets if you haven't gotten one. Yeah, now you're my friend. So. And I even brought, where's Corey Podani? Is he here? Corey Podani? He's back there. That's the University Credit Union. That's my banker in case I can't cover the bar tab. So thank you very much for the honor, and let's all have a great time with polka music. Thank you.
How many of you think we ought to have this guy run for governor? Oh, he says he'd like to be president. Hey, first of all, I want to congratulate all the inductees. Let's give them all a big hand, folks. They're all great. I also want to thank all of you for coming here today and supporting our inductees in polka music. You know, we can't do it without what you folks. You've been really great supporting our polka music. You look around and you don't see any young generation, and that's kind of sad, but that's the way it is. We sure could use some young people to come and help support this polka music, because it's not going to last forever. I'd also like to thank my partner, Jim Bondichek, Dan Randalls, and Brandon Odom for their contributions that they make here for the Polka Hall of Fame to make it successful every year. Let's give those guys a big hand. Also, keep in mind that next year's Polka Hall of Fame will be on Sunday, September 9th, and we have the Czechlanders Orchestra from Grand Island will be providing the music. How about that Kenny Janak band, huh? Let's give them a hand. I remember playing on that band several years ago in my younger days, and they were ranked as a #2 polka band, Eddie Janak, and they did a ballot on KOOO, and they voted Ernie Kuchera #2 or #1 polka band, and Eddie decided he's going to be #2, and that's the way he advertised his band, and it was well deserved. Now we'll hear a tune played by the Kevin Koopman Trio, so stick around for more music and the Kenny Janak Band. Thank you very much, folks.